March 20th, this Sunday, is International Day of Happiness. It's set aside to remember that we all have that universal goal in mind, but with everything happening in the world right now, it can certainly be tough to look on the bright side. So we have some realistic strategies for you. Joining us now is happiness researcher Gillian Mandich. Good morning, Gillian.
Good morning, Matt. It's nice to see you.
It's great to see you, too. Thank you for being here. Let's talk about this. It's really tough right now. Given the state of the world, the pandemic, everything we've been through, anxiety and fear can feel like a constant. So how can we cope with these emotions that we're still feeling, but also not let them overwhelm us?
Yeah, this is the real part of this because, especially with Sunday being the International Day of Happiness, we're talking about how do we be happier, but it's really about being realistic with that. And as a happiness researcher, one of the things that I know is that we can't be happy all the time. And it's very normal to experience fear and anxiety right now. And we're all we're all tired from this pandemic, right? So part of it is just really understanding that, yes, we can create more happiness, but let's be realistic about it, right? It's not butterflies and rainbows right now, and we can't pretend that it is, because when we do that, it actually makes us feel worse.
I was about to say, it can be tough sometimes. And you know what, Gillian, this takes me back to Hector and the Search for Happiness, the movie with Simon Pegg in it, right? And happiness research. And it's fascinating to me. And one of the concepts is there's an idea that once we achieve something, that we wait for something, that's going to make us happy. But again, not always the case, is it?
Absolutely. You're exactly right, Matt. We often think I will be happy when, fill in the blank, right? When I have X amount of dollars, when I weigh whatever, when I get married, divorced, whatever the story is. But what we know from research is that happiness is not a destination. It's not something that we arrive at one day. Happiness is a practice. It's something that is available to us right now because daily, if we do things that make us happy, that's actually what adds up to a happy life. Because even if we think, I will be happy when I have X amount of dollars, for example, when we get there, then we want something else. Mm-hmm. So that's just running on a hamster wheel, right? So a lot of happiness is really reframing it and understanding that happiness isn't something that we will arrive at one day. That's like chasing a mirage. It doesn't exist. Right. So instead asking, where can I create small bursts of joy in my day today?
That's
do that. How we actually add up to a happy
Let's
life.
talk about that if we can. Those strategies, those practices that we can do. We're going to bring them up here. First one let's talk about is savor.
Mm-hmm. So savoring is like the fancy research word for stopping to smell the roses. And what it means is taking time to look around and appreciate the good things we already have in our life, right? Often we're searching to see where we can find happiness, but we have a lot of good going on right now if we take time to just stop and look around. Even the pandemic, like things we used to take for granted, right? Like going for dinner with a friend, going to a movie, those things that are already good in our life, it's about noticing and appreciating them.
I'm so guilty of this too. I'm so guilty of it, the fact of looking to what's next or looking for something else instead of just taking a moment, pausing, and like you say, smelling the roses. The next one you suggest is declutter.
Yes. I think less mess can actually equal less stress, right? When we have an environment around us that's neat and organized, it does take a toll on our mental health in a good way. So when we think about, especially when we're in an anxiety spiral or we're having a hard time, when we think about what can I actually do, sometimes cleaning up and decluttering, not only does it give us something to do to occupy us, but it also, our environment is one of the big players in terms of our happiness. So by having a clean, organized environment, we can help to have a clean, organized mind.
Now, you talked about being realistic a little bit earlier, too. When we talk about mental health. The other thing that we're going to talk about here, too, is not pretending that everything is okay.
Exactly. And this is a really big one. I think that part of the silver lining of the pandemic is it's opened the door to conversations where we're not just saying to people, hey, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. Right. We're starting to label and talk about how we're feeling. And this is a really key thing. And if we're not feeling okay, then reaching out to a mental health professional, to a friend, to a colleague, to an employee assistance program, whatever it is, because we're all going through this in very different ways. And it's a very weird time. And so having that support and recognizing when we're not okay, knowing that it's okay to not be okay. And I'm a happiness researcher and I'm not happy all the time because that's not the goal. It's really about healthy psychological functioning and putting the tools in place to allow us to move through whatever it is that we're feeling.
And practicing all of these things, they can be difficult on a regular basis, daily basis, but some good tips. Gillian, thank you for this. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.